How's it going, folks? Welcome to the Riffing with Jeza podcast. Just in balmy Kuala Lumpur at the moment. I'll give you some shots pretty soon. So I spent a bit of time in Thailand, and Malaysia's a lot easier, a lot more English speaking. It's pretty safe, quite friendly. It's pretty nice. Some of the Muslims are a bit serious, but it's pretty good. Really easy to live here. So I'm just here for the moment, see what happens. So I wanted to tell a bit of a story about vibration. This is not a woo-woo thing, it's not a new age thing, it's just something that everybody carries, an electromagnetic field around them, and awareness. And I'm not into sort of good and bad vibration or anything like that. It's just like this vibration carries an awareness, so that, you know, people have in different amounts. And I was talking to this guy. This guy was just hang on a sec. Where the fuck is that going? I was talking to this guy, and there's an opportunity for him. And in the end, I kind of gave up. I sort of nudged a little bit, but it's not really my business, so I didn't really push. And it's just interesting because I told a friend of mine about it. How's it going? I told a friend of mine about it, and it's just interesting that sometimes just people aren't open to things. And I noticed this with you know, when we went through that big medical experiment a few years ago, that a lot of people didn't really see what was going on, and you couldn't really convince them otherwise. So it's quite interesting. There's something around vibration and awareness that I've sort of realized that it just is what it is, and you can't really teach someone this with logic or whatever. And I'm not just saying that I have the all-knowing kind of thing, but it's just interesting how there's aspects to this that it is what it is, and you can be walking beside someone, but you're really on a completely different path. I had a relationship that didn't work a few years ago, and it's just interesting. We kept on butting heads, and it wasn't that the person was a bad person or anything like that. It's just that we were just on a different wavelength. It's just quite interesting. And you know, I think in my earlier days, I would have tried to problem solve it and try to work out, like, you know, what's going on and why is this the blah, blah, blah. But it's just one of these things that if you're not a matching frequency, life will pull away that situation. So it's quite interesting, really interesting. And I've just realized over time that why fight that? Because everybody has a sort of a certain home resonant frequency. And if you just, like, life will pull away and bring to you based on that. But if your mind gets in the way, it'll just basically, it'll kind of mess it up a little bit. So, quite a lot of people here. I tried to do this yesterday. Hang on. The other day or whatever, it was a Sunday. There's so many fucking people. Anyway, so this idea of frequency is really interesting, and more, I've just really realized that don't mess with that. Just let people come to stuff, you know, in their own way. And if you're not really on the same level, you don't really need to make it happen, because you'll be happiest when the right sort of frequency people come along. And this kind of works both ways in terms of, like, allowing people to leave, but also allowing people in. So anyway, just interesting. Anyway, so that was the little kind of thing I've been thinking about lately, like allowing people, like not trying to bring people over into your realm and just allowing them to be different, you know, like allowing them to, you know, do whatever. How are you? And then you kind of more, I kind of feel like then you're kind of more likely going to be sort of having a good experience yourself, you know, because you will attract people who are more like you, or like more like your resonant frequency, rather than the mind trying to make things right. You know what I mean? So I'm going to do a little awareness thing now. All right, I'm just sort of flipping this around a bit, just so you can get the nature a bit more when I'm doing this exercise. So, because as I've said before, there's no point in me talking about anything unless, like, it should be more than just intellectual stimulation. It should be just like, is this thing gonna have an impact in your life? Like it should, to me, it should shift something. So today's topic was frequency. So now basically let's look at this, and I'll do a meditation on this as well. So let's breathe in and just be aware of who is in your life. And just be aware of the people that really connect and the people that don't quite connect. And then be aware of the people that don't quite connect, but the mind is trying to want them to connect. The mind is trying to battle against what is, and it's trying to make it connect. You know, because we all like that. We all like that. So can you let it be okay that you don't fully connect with them? Can you let it be okay that you feel as you feel? Can it be okay to not fully connect? And who do you notice in your sphere environment that does connect? You know, that you do feel a definite connection to. Now there may be nobody, or there may be one or two people. Often with us spiritual seekers, there's not many. But what would it be like to allow that person in a little bit more? If there is somebody. And if there's not, that's okay as well. Now, whether you're allowing someone in or moving away, can you notice the feeling in you that knows what's resonant for you? And can you just acknowledge that feeling? That's you. That is your spirit. That is your truth. And every time you acknowledge that truth, you strengthen that part of you and you feel a bit more peace and you feel a bit more whole and genuine self-esteem and genuine acknowledgement. And so, and then with that feeling of self, just let yourself be with that. Just breathe in again and just feel how nice that feels just to be with that knowing and be with that part of yourself. And that's it. So I hope that feeling stays with you. and have a cracker.
Riffing with Jeza.